Okay, boys and girls, so we're going to be working on worksheet 14-3, and it looks like this. And this is where we're going to be getting into the 30 minutes on the clock. How do I tell when something is 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 12:30? How do I tell that on my clock? And what is happening to my hour hand as I'm moving closer and closer to the next hour? So that's what we're going to be focusing on now. So on your worksheet, it shows you have hour hands and minute hands. So I want you to use your blue crayon. I want you to color your hour hand blue, and I want you to color your minute hand red. And remember, if you don't have these colors, whatever color you were using on the last worksheet, your hour hand will be that color, and your minute hand will be that color, okay? So I am going to put it on my clock, the first one that it says. So my hour hand is not quite on the 7. It's a little bit past the 7. And my minute hand is pointing on the 6, like this. So it should look like this. So, here we go. I always look at my hour hand first when I'm telling the time, okay? That's important, remember that. So what is my hour hand pointing at? It's pointing, it's not quite on the 7, it's not quite on the 8, it's in between. And the reason it does that, boys and girls, is when it is 7 o'clock like this, 7 o'clock, because my hand is pointing at 7 and my minute is pointing at the 12. As my clock moves and it gets closer and closer to the next hour, because it has to turn all the way around before we get to the next hour, something's happening to my hour hand. My hour hand is moving a little bit because it's getting closer to the next hour. A clock doesn't just go from 7 to 8 in one quick swift. It doesn't do that. It slowly moves as your minute hand moves closer and closer all the way around to the next hours. Your hour hand will move as well. So when you're on the 6, your hour hand won't be anymore on that number. It'll move closer and closer to the next number because that's what your clock is doing. You're moving. So right now, whenever your minute hand is on the 6, we call this 30. Just like we called this o'clock, we call this 30. Say 30. So when your hour hand, your minute hand is on the 6, we call that 30. Why do we call it 30, Ms. Carmichael? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Because our numbers are minutes. When it's the minute hand pointing at these numbers, it doesn't mean 8:02. It means 8:10. These minutes move by 5s. Remember how we skip counted? We skip count when we're doing the time. So the 1 means 5. The 2 means 10. The 3 means 15. The 4 means 20. The 5 means 25. And the 6 means 30. And it keeps going by 5s. So when your minute hand is on the 6, we say that is 30. Just like we say the 12 is o'clock, the 6 is 30. So my 7, remember, it will not be all the way on the 7. It's going to be a little bit past it because it's moving closer and closer because after 7 is 8. So it'll be like this, 7:30, 7:30, and that's what it looks like. So what they're asking you on the worksheet, it says, on the clock face, which is this is what we call a face of a clock, the hour hand is between the what and the what. So this is what it looks like on your worksheet. Like this. So what is the hour hand between? The 7 and the what? And the 8. So on your worksheet, you'll say it's between the 7 and the 8. On the clock face, the minute hand is on the what? What is the minute hand on? It's on the 6. Do I say it's 7:06? No, I say it's 7:30. 7:30. So on your paper, you will write what the minute hand is on. You'll say it's on the 6, and you'll tell me that the hour hand is between the 7 and the 8, because you're telling me it is 7:30. And on your digital clock, it's the same way. Remember how we talked about the hour comes first on your digital clock. The hour came first here. It's pointing at a 7. And then it tells me my minutes, 30, 7:30. Same on the digital clock. So now what I want you to do is look at number 2, and what is that pointing at? So I want you to look first at the hour hand, which should be blue now, or whatever color you made it. And it's pointing between the what and the what. And then it says, and then the minute hand is pointing on the what. And then it wants to know, well, what time is it then? So I want you to put in the time. So you're going to fill this out. You're going to do the same for here, but on here, you're also going to write it in the digital clock. So if it's at a 5 and it's at a 6, what would it look like on here? Would I write 5, 6? No, because what does our 6 stand for in our minute hands? It stands for 30. So you would tell me it was 5:30. So it says on the back, you're going to draw an activity that you do on the half hour every day. So you know what? You could draw an activity of recess, because you know we do recess at 11:30. So you could draw yourself doing something. Maybe you're playing with the Barbies in the room, you're playing with the cars, the Play-Doh, maybe you're playing teacher. Draw a picture of something that you do, and then I want you to draw it on the clock. Remember, the minute hand on the 6 means 30. The hour hand tells us what hour it is. When it's on the 30, it is not all the way on that number anymore. It's moving slowly towards the next number. And that's what we need to remember with telling time in minutes. As our minute hand moves closer and closer to the next hour, our hour hand is moving just a little bit until eventually it is at the new hour, which is 8 o'clock. So as it moves closer to 9, as the minute hand moves, our hour hand gets closer and closer to the next hour. That's the most important thing to remember when we're doing minutes. So I want you to go ahead and do this worksheet. And if you get confused, you know that you can message me, have your mom message me, your grandma, your aunt, or your uncle, and I'll be glad to answer your questions, okay? I love you, and I hope you're doing good with telling time, and I hope you're going to have fun looking at the clocks in your house and being like, oh, I know what time it is, because I could tell what time it's 1:30, and if you're practicing on your skip counting on your clocks, you'll even be ready to tell me when the minute hand's pointing at the 1, what does it mean? We're not on that yet, but if you want to go ahead and try, go for it. Have some fun. I love you and I miss you. Bye.